earGROUND.
Keep your ears on the ground.
Hey, it's Gemma Griffiths and you are watching earGROUND Africa. Titungamire baba, tichengete, musa tisi baba, jaka omaji vajanyoruba. The past couple of months have been really exciting. I spent some time in the United States. I did a show in Dallas. I went and lectured at a university and worked on some music and some visuals that side. I also spent some time in London working on music and prepping for some really exciting stuff that's coming up. I was in Joburg, I was recording there, and I was in Zimbabwe, and we were recording and filming a lot of new, exciting stuff that I can't wait to share with everybody. I Got From Harare was a really special project for me because I think it was a time capsule of a moment in my life where I was traveling and experimenting with sound and with arrangement and the way that I was putting the music together. But something that was really special for me was the I Got From Harare live album, which we filmed in the National Gallery in Harare. And that space has always meant a lot to me. It's always been somewhere to go and reflect, and to then take the musicians and film in that space and record an entire live album, which I don't know if we do enough, you know. It's got no room for error when you're recording a live album, because it's just what you played is what's coming out. And I think that meant so much time went into the rehearsals and the wardrobe and the look and the feel of the aesthetic, as well as the music and the arrangement of it all. And so when that came out, I think it gave me another look at my own project and my work. And it was something I was really proud of. So it was a nice sort of addition to the A Girl From Harare EP itself. I have been working really hard, and this year I have created something very exciting. I've been working in the studio, I've been working on visuals, and let's just say that this is just the start, and very soon it's gonna be out and it's gonna be magical. And yeah, new music, new creative, very soon. Music is as much a part of the musician and the person who created it as it is the fans. I think it wouldn't be able to do what it's done without the people listening. I think I see it as a partnership. I'm giving of myself and I'm giving this to you, and then I'm asking you and hoping that you take that with as much care as I've put into it and celebrate it and share it and do with it what you will. And hopefully those things are positive, and you know, sharing the positive stories of Zimbabwe, sharing the good things, the music, the excitement, and really celebrating all of the goodness that is coming out creatively from our country now. Once I give it to you, I hope that you treat it with love and care, and I hope you love it. I think the fact that Afrobeats and Amapiano have become such a global phenomenon, and that when I was traveling in the States and when I was traveling in the UK, you would walk into a bar and you were hearing these songs, and you were hearing Afrobeat everywhere. I think it's an amazing moment. It's such an exciting moment for people in that space, because the world is awake to it. I think the possibilities are endless. We've seen African artists win awards and play shows and break records over the past few years, and it's only the beginning. I think African music and African creatives are powerhouses, and this is only the beginning of some really exciting stuff. And it gives a lot of hope to artists who have been working in the Afrobeat space like myself, because we can see how this road is getting paved, and how endless the possibilities are for Afrobeats, for the continent, and for the musicians from Africa. I'm making music for a couple of different things, I think. I think first and foremost, and I girl from Harare, I am wholly identified. The first thing I sort of see myself as before a woman, or anything else, is a Zimbabwean. And so the goal has always been to raise the Zimbabwean flag. But that hasn't just been within the country. I really want to take Zimbabwe and the music that I make and be one of those artists who really does take the Zimbabwean name to the world. And so that does come through in my music, when I know this song might be something that breaks a barrier outside. And that's definitely a goal, is to play the big stages and to play these big shows that we look up to, and to play them as a proudly Zimbabwean artist. I also make music for God, and I think that has always been quite evident lyrically in songs like Titungamire and Maita Basa Baba. But I also make music for myself. That's sort of where I started. I when I was young and I was playing and I was writing songs, I wasn't writing songs for anybody. I was writing songs because it felt good, and it helped me process things. And I think I've sort of come full circle back into that space quite recently, where I've started making music for myself again, and not really even worrying if it's going to be heard outside, because ultimately it heals. And it's been a really big place where a safe space for me recently is to sit and to make music, and to allow that music to help me process trauma and process pain and process things that have happened, and heal. I've had people contact me on Instagram and Facebook, and people in person as well, and have said, Titungamire was my mom's song. It was, it was something that meant something to her. It was something that got me through a difficult time, and Maita Basa as well. And people have sort of reached out and told me stories of what the music has done. And I think that music is so powerful in a way that it can transcend, and it can connect, and it can communicate things. And I think it's a part of the privilege of being an artist and being an artist and being a creative, is that what you're creating is much bigger than yourself. You're creating it, and you might never know what it ends up doing for someone or where it ends up touching someone, as long as you're honest. And I think that's been something big for me, is if you feel like there's something that you can say and you want to say it, because you never know who's going to need to hear that. And I think Titungamire taught me that hugely, because of the amount of people who did reach out and tell me these amazing stories, and painful stories, and real and raw stories. And then when I wrote Ndita Tarisa, I think it was almost like the music was giving that back to me, in a way that it hasn't before. I've written music that has really touched me, and this song especially was such a moment like that, where now to actually release some of that, because often I keep that music for myself when it's so vulnerable, but to release it, I'm excited to know that if it's doing that for me, that hopefully it's going to do that for other people too. I have a single called Ndita Tarisa that is dropping now, and it's about to come out. And Ndita Tarisa was a special moment for me. It was something that I don't know if I've really ever fully done publicly. I think I write music for so many different reasons, and one of those reasons is to heal, and to process things. And earlier this year, you always see the happy-go-lucky, excited, bouncy, bubbly Gemma, but I went through something really unexpected and really tough earlier this year, and I didn't speak about it. I didn't really allow that out of my sort of very personal space. But I stood in the living room just after it had happened, and I remember crying out to God out loud, and I've never done that before either, and I was shouting and I was saying, I can't do this, I need you to do this, I can't walk through this next phase of what's happening, and I actually need you to do it for me. And I cried and I prayed and I looked upwards, and I think that process of doing that just turned into a crying out and a song, and that was Nditsha Tarisa. And then when I recorded the song and I wrote the song, I prayed when I recorded it. I stood behind that microphone and I cried and I prayed. Because I couldn't do it by myself. And I don't think I've really been that vulnerable when recording something before, and I think it shows, and it's something that I'm so excited about coming out, because you always see happy Gem and you always see, you know, the bounciness, and that song was my healing, you know. And I think I've always said I write music for Zimbabwe and I write music for my fans and for the love of it, but I wrote that song for me, and I needed it, and Nditsha Tarisa saved me in so many ways, and that's been such a privilege to watch something like that happen in my music, and that was God. The song was my healing. Nditsha Tarisa kwamuri mwari kana upenyu wangu orema Nditsha Tarisa, o mwari wangu, mwari wangu, oh, 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 Nditsha Tarisa, o mwari wangu.